Welcome to the Rebirth Holistic Podcast, a podcast hosted by Reverend Melvina Ford, a licensed holistic minister, spiritual counselor, life coach, and Usui Reiki master, whose goal it is to provide alternative holistic care to women using the fundamental principles of mind-body medicine. Reverend Melvina specializes in the areas of healing, recovery, coaching, and counseling. With that being said, please welcome Reverend Coach Melvy.
Greetings, everyone out there. This is Coach Melvy coming to you live from Rebirth Dimension, or shall I say Rebirth Dimension Holistic Healing. That's the updated name for my podcast, also for my coaching and counseling and healing practice. And I'm coming to you. I haven't been on here in a minute. Sometimes life has a way of taking you away from what the normal everyday schedule would be. And most people set schedules. I'm going to do a podcast every Sunday, every Monday. And initially that's what I set out to do, and it was working. But again, like I said, life changes. So you have to just adjust as it changes. So sometimes I can't come on here when I want to because I literally don't have really a good topic or how I want to put it out there. So I have to wait, and I'll make a notation of the subject that I want to speak on, and I have to wait until it's time for me to speak on it before I can actually go forward, because sometimes I'm in the middle of it and I don't see the end of it. And sometimes I may just literally, honestly forget what specific content I want to put into the podcast. So today is coming from a personal standpoint, and it has a lot to do with self-healing. It has a lot to do with realizing who you are and taking your power back. And sometimes we feel like we've gotten to a certain place, and when we've overcome certain things, but something comes along and it'll trigger you and take you back to a moment, or it'll cause you to react a certain way and you don't realize why. And that's exactly what I had. I had a situation that happened a couple weeks ago, and I had to really take a really good look at it. And I had to ask myself the questions: why does this trigger me every time? And I literally had to stop. And this is a part of healing for everyone. I think everyone should do this, because there should get to a point in your life where you should be able to look at those things. Why does this upset me so much? Why does this make me sad? Why does this make me angry? Why does this make me want to react in physically? Whatever it causes you to want to do. Why does this, why does it make me want to eat? Why do I always revert to eating all the time when I'm, in this emotional state? Whatever it is that your vice is, how are you handling the situation? Do you become depressed? Do you start second guessing yourself? Do you become emotional? These are some things that you need to look at. So the topic of this is, when is enough enough? And so, again, this is something personal that I've had to deal with on my own, and I had to take a look back because I was being attacked. There are some negative things that were being said about me, and I know they weren't true, but the fact that I had to sit back, look at it, and think about it, and it caused me to be in an emotional state, because the things that were said to me were really brutal, mean, and of course not real. So instead of me realizing that, it was easy just to say, no, it's not true. But I had to realize, what is it that's missing inside of me to make me feel that I even needed to second guess it? what is it that made me feel to the point where I had to be upset about it, or emotional, or even hurt? And the one thing that I remember growing up into my young adult years, living life's experiences and everything that was going on, was that I've always been the type of person where initially I wasn't able to speak my mind because I was a child. It was basically do as you're told, not as I do. As kids, we question that. We're like, okay, well, can't say nothing about that. But eventually, I thought I got past it, but I didn't. And what happened was, it carried over into the rest of my life. I never spoke up for myself. I never was brave enough to, first of all. I did get bullied in school, which didn't make it any easier for me to speak up. Carried over into my parenthood. I have a son, and a lot of the things I should have said, I didn't say. And it carried over into a lot of other things in life. So, people were able to say what they wanted to say to me. I never said anything back because why? I was so busy trying to please everyone and make everyone happy. Baseline. So, I'm so busy worried about if I say this or if I react a certain way, they're not going to love me. They're going to pull away from me. They're going to react a certain way. When what I was truly doing actually is denying my own true self, my own truth. I wasn't owning up to the person that I said I was in the mirror. I was giving all these affirmations and I wasn't owning up to it. Yes, you're beautiful. Yes, you're this. Yes, you're strong. But yet when it comes down to facing another person, I did not have the strength to do it. And I am now 51. And I've gotten to the point in my life where it's like, this last situation, I decided, I'm like, no, I'm not carrying this over into the second part of my life, because I'm ready to be happy. I've sacrificed so much of my life to be a mother, and to try to figure out life, but sacrificing for everyone else's peace and joy and happiness, but not knowing who I was, where my strength was. Where do I begin and where do I end? What's my drawing line? How much more am I going to take? Do I need to deal with this? Is it going to hurt me if I push back? Am I going to stop, breathing if I just stand my own ground? There are some things I realize that there are some things you're just going to have to take on or experience. It's part of the experience. There's some things you're just going to have to give pushback on in order to have your own peace of mind. There unfortunately are some people out here, and the one thing we don't realize is hurt people hurt people. If they've been hurt in their life, sometimes they stifle it. They don't realize they're stifling it, but it pours over into everyone else's life that they're involved with. So their hurts become someone else's hurts, and they don't even know why. Until maybe one day they realize that's where the hurt comes from. But instead of them dealing with that hurt, they continually throw it at someone else and say, this is what happened to me, and I'm not going to let you do this to me because that person did it to me. It becomes like, okay, well, now I feel like I got to walk on eggshells around this person all the time, or I can't say this, or I can't say that, because they may have a meltdown. They may blow up. So in order to keep the peace for everyone, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. But at the same time, you're drowning. You're suffering. You're hurting, you're in pain because you've dealt with a lot from this person, because they don't realize how much of their emotional darts they have thrown at you. They don't realize how much hurt they've caused you because of their own hurt. They're so drowned in their own hurt that they don't realize that they're at this point in their life that it's like they're basically saying it's all about me, 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 me. My hurts, my hurts, my hurts, not realizing that their hurts are hurting someone else, which entails the cliche, hurt people hurt people. So I got to that point where I was like, I'm over it. I'm done talking about it. And I had to have epiphany with my son as well. He and I had a conversation, and I didn't realize that I was putting expectations on him because he wasn't reacting a certain way because of my hurts. And it was a pattern. I'm like, okay. I had to see a lot of things in this situation where I'm like, okay, healing has to begin, and I'm going to do it with me first. I can't do anything about the other people. I can't do anything about how they feel. I can't control how they are. They have a separate experience from me. But as far as my experience in this journey right now, I have to take these lessons and own up to what it is I'm doing. So I had to learn that I can't please everyone. I'm not going to please everyone. It's just not possible because I'm expected to be perfect, and no one is ever going to be perfect because we're all learning. So while you're learning, you're going to make mistakes, which should be allowed, but some people won't, again, because of hurts. I've learned that I can't do the same things to other people that they've done to me. They're not going to be able to recompense for something someone else did in the past, because there's nothing you can do about the past. The past is the past. That no one should ever have to be punished for someone else's wrongdoing. Because someone else hurt me in the past, I'm not going to let this happen, so I'm going to control you. And we don't realize that's what we're doing. And I had to come to that realization. So in the midst of, some people will hear it, and some people won't, until they're ready to get off of the merry-go-round of hurting and repeating that constant cycle of, this is what happened to me, I don't want this to happen to me. Because what we don't realize is, the more we talk about it, it's like romanticizing about it. It's like a boyfriend or girlfriend. You talk about them so much. And, because they're around. The more you talk about it, the more you see them. The more you talk about that issue, the more you keep getting issues like that in your life. The more you say this is the type of person you don't want, because you keep talking about what happened in the past, this is what you draw near. I went through a whole weekend of an emotional roller coaster, because I knew that Monday I didn't want to have any of that on me anymore. I was ready for the next experience in my life, and I didn't want that on me. I didn't want to keep repeating those thoughts over in my head. How many of you have ever had to deal with this? How many of you currently dealing with this? This is real. It can be an emotional roller coaster or merry-go-round or whatever you want to, amusement park. Let's just call it that. It's a whole bunch of different rides that you're like, I'm over it. Okay, I'm done with this ride. This is not fun. Okay, this makes me sick. Okay, this makes me emotional. I don't like it, Until we're ready to get out of the amusement park and go find some other type of adventure. And this is being really serious. I really want you guys to understand this. This is real, because being a life coach and being a counselor and being a Reiki healer, and I say healer, but let me just say, I'm really not a healer. We use that word, but what we're doing is guiding a person into that place so they can heal themselves, which basically what it is. It's helping you or the client or the person is seeking healing, because no one can heal anyone else. It's an inside thing. It's within you. You heal yourself when you start coming to the realization of certain things in your life that you're holding on to and you don't want to let go of, and they're affecting you now, and you can carry it on into the next phase of your life as well if you don't deal with it. This is the part where it's called owning up to your part in that situation. Yes, they may have hurt you, but what part did you play in? I didn't do anything. You did something. Not kids all the time. If we were to go say kids don't normally understand that what happened with the kid was the part that they need to own up to is they allow that situation to continually fester and fester and fester, even in adulthood. Now, when you're a child, you don't know how to deal with this. You're still trying to guide your way through the whole situation because it hurts. And that's the only thing you remember. And that's the part that we need to grow in. We need to deal with it, heal with it, and let it go. It need not be a repetition in your life. Now, granted, there are some people out here that have dealt with situations in their life and they wrote a book about it. But most times, that book is a healing piece for someone else. Not for them to continually be repeating it. Because most times when you're in that, like a coach or a counselor, you repeat those stories. Not because you're not healed, but because you have a end story to that story. This is how I came through it. Most people who are telling that story over and over and over again, they don't have an end point. What's the end point? What is the success story out of that? How did you grow from it? How did you learn from it? How did you become better from it? There has to be a positive end story, because otherwise you're going to continually stay on that merry-go-round, on that roller coaster, up and down, because there's no growth. That's the point I'm trying to make. So, by Monday, I had made a decision. There are some things I'm just going to have to take a hit on. As a matter of fact, I just refuse. I'm not going to take a hit on it. I'm just going to live my life. And I'm not going to let anyone try to manipulate or control me into doing what they think I should be doing with my life, because it is my life. Just like I shouldn't be telling anyone else to do the same thing, because it's not my life. It's their life. It's their journey. And I cannot predict or tell them or direct them which way they should go, because only they know that. That's where the growth is. So at that point, when I finally owned up to what it is, the part that I played in the whole situation and the whole spectrum of it, and how I held on to certain things in my life, and how it was affecting my life from moving forward, that's when I said I'm ready to let go. I was ready to let all the pain go. I didn't want to keep going back and saying, I'm like this because that happened. And that's exactly the pattern that I've been using with everything in my life. And that's why I coach. That's why I'm a minister. That's why I'm a spiritual counselor. That's why I do the Reiki, holistic healing, and that's why I'll do all the meditations and everything. That's why I'm going into the Akashic records and going back as to far as I can go back in memory. That spirit will allow me to be able to go back and find out why. Why? Because it should take you back to every time you ask why at a certain stop, you say, okay, why did this happen? Why do I feel this way then? Because this happened. There's always a beginning point. And when you get to that beginning point, then you can understand why the pattern kept going. And eventually you can stop it. That's called putting in the work and owning up to it. Because there's a pattern. And we can fix it ourselves. That's who heals you, yourself. When you own up to it, you deal with it and you heal from it. That's your journey. I can't take on someone else's journey. I can't take on someone else's pain. My job is to recognize the pain, even when the darts are starting to be thrown at me. But how I react to someone else's anger has a lot to do with it. And that's going to help me or break me or keep me in the same space I've always been in. So that weekend was a very, very hard weekend. And I'm glad I went through it. I'm glad I had the experience. I'm glad I was actually open enough spiritually to be able to say, I'm tired of feeling this way. And I've been feeling this way for so long. And I want to heal from it. Because again, no one can heal you but yourself. So, with that being said, I just want to say I love you all. I'm glad to be back again. And I can't say these are going to be every Sunday, because it's only as I'm inspired. And it takes the pressure off. And I can give a better podcast. I can speak from the heart. I don't have to make up, okay, let me talk about this. Okay, let me talk about that. It's Sunday. Let me see what I want to talk about. I want it to be natural. I want it to be heartfelt. I want it to be real. And I want to reach out to those who have gone through things like this. Yes, my podcast is directed towards women, and I'm inviting more women to come on and be a part of my podcast, whether it's by my Anchor FM podcast, or if we do a Zoom live face-to-face chat podcast. So, but I want to be able to reach out to everyone. So if there are any men out there that have gone through something like this, that's fine. You can come on the podcast as well. If you can relate to these podcasts, share them with someone else. Reach out, because this is my heart to yours. This is not me pointing the finger at anyone. This is just me reaching out to each and every one of you, because this is how, right now, because of what we're going through in the world, this is where we need healing. There are so many people that are hurt, and there's so many people right now that are tired. This is the biggest experience that I've had in my lifetime of living. I've heard about different riots here and there, in one state or another, for whatever happened in that state, but I've never seen it get this much attention. And it's not just one people of color doing this. It's people of all colors doing this. Everyone from all different races are doing this. We're coming together. We're coming together as one, which we all truly are. It's just because of all the indoctrination, the different religious, whatever you want to call it, teachings, and it's caused a division. Between us as beings here on this earth, living our lives and having these experiences. No one really wants to have a bad experience, but unfortunately, this is the way the world is right now. And we're learning from it. Basically, that's what we're here for anyway. We're not here. The success is nice. You're supposed to be here to enjoy this life, but at the same time, take on the experiences and enjoy the experiences. Learn from the experiences. That's what it's all about. Experiencing the journey. So again, if anyone is interested in being on my podcast as an interviewee, if you have a story to share, if you have a testimony you want to give of how you've overcome, how you made it through, who knows? Don't be afraid to chime in. Don't be afraid to inbox me. You can email me at rebirthdimension@gmail.com. I am also on Facebook. My name on Facebook is Rev Melvina Ford. That's REVMELVINIA. Last name Ford, Ford, like the car. My Facebook business page is Rebirth Dimension Holistic Healing. My Instagram is also Rebirth Dimension Holistic. And I also have a website. You can go on there and check out my different sessions that I hold. And seeing how the world is right now is slowly but surely opening up, but I think everyone's at the same time being very cautious. So all my classes or sessions will be virtual until the coast is clear, because even though they're opening up, there's still a lot of states that are dealing with a lot of cases, and the cases are starting to kind of come up. The numbers are coming up again, even though they kind of went down. So I think this is another experience that we're all dealing with in life. This is teaching us, unfortunately, flat out, we just need to be better people at taking care of us, our bodies, our minds, our spirits. We need to get better at taking care of our communities, our homes. We need to be cleaner. We need to stop being so unsanitary, because yes, we are. being quite honest. And this is why we're dealing with what we're dealing with. So until we get that in our heads, then we're going to deal with a lot of the things that we're dealing with. And even worse. Also, you can also call me and leave a message on my voicemail. The number is area code 248-660-0185. If you want to schedule a session or a podcast interview, we'll set something up. I love you all. I'm sorry this is so late, but you're not on here with me live. You're just checking into the podcast. And so, I shall talk to you guys soon. Be safe out here. Wear your masks. Some people will, some people won't. I'm not judging either way it goes. Just be safe, and let's try to take it to another year, because we got a lot to learn this year, and this year is just almost halfway over. Take care, and God bless. This is Coach Melvie coming to you from Rebirth Dimension. Keep rising.
Thank you for listening to the Rebirth Holistic Podcast with Reverend Melvina. Please be sure to check out our website at rebirthholistic.com for services provided. If you enjoy these and other podcasts by Coach Melvie, you can rate the show by going to anchor.fm/rebirth-dimension, as well as subscribe and share on your social media sites with others. You may also support by donating to the podcast show as well. All proceeds go toward improving the content and production of the show for its listeners. Please look for the link on the podcast page. Thanks again for listening.